You're listening to Bloomberg Businessweek with Carol Massar and Tim Stenovec on Bloomberg Radio.
Earlier this month, Mondelez International, it's the company that makes Oreos, Toblerone chocolates, and more, said it would raise prices next year on some of its products. Among the reasons, Tim, you and I were talking about this earlier, the company faces pressure from cocoa and sugar costs.
Okay, after all, cocoa futures are up more than 60% so far this year.
That's a lot.
Trading at the highest price since the late 1970s.
That's a lot.
Meanwhile, supply concerns have also sparked a surge for raw sugar, which is up more than 36% so far this year. You know what sugar and cocoa are used for?
Chocolate.
Yeah.
And more. Our next guest is all too familiar with cocoa and chocolate because they are key ingredients in the products at her gourmet artisanal chocolate company. Nicole Patel is a 10-time Master Chocolatier with a master's in engineering. She's a founder, or is the founder, I should say, of Delysia Chocolatier. It's based in Austin, Texas. She joins us here in our Bloomberg Interactive Broker studio. Welcome, welcome. How are you?
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
I love that you're an engineer. I'm a daughter of an engineer. I have lots of cousins who are engineers. Tell us, first of all, about your company.
Okay.
And how you came to be.
Yes, so we launched Delysia Chocolatier in 2008.
Good timing. Good timing.
It was excellent timing.
How hard was that?
Well, at the time, didn't seem difficult because we were starting from ground zero, and we just thought this was going to be party favors and wedding favors. Once a month, I'd make some chocolate and have a reason to sell it, and no big deal. And then the food industry took off in Texas. We partnered with a top winery in the state, and things just started to expand, almost out of control, kind of not to the plan of what we originally thought. So for us, 2008, 2009, though it was tough, it was fun. We couldn't get investors. We couldn't get loans from the bank. And my husband and I just decided that, you know what, why not just invest in ourselves? Why throw away somebody else's money when we could just throw away our own, or be a little bit more responsible because it is ours. And so that's kind of been our motto.
Did you both give up your day jobs?
We did not.
Okay.
We actually both kept, he still is working full time.
Okay.
And I worked full time as an engineer up until about 5 years ago. At which time, the contract.
It's a long time to do both.
It was a long time to do both with two little kids, so
it's a lot.
Is this a full-time job and more for you now?
Oh yes, I've never worked so hard in my life.
And how do you scale? We have about 40 seconds now. Then we're gonna do some news and we'll come back. But how do you scale?
It's hard to scale. Before the pandemic, we had staff. And then after the pandemic, my parents came out of retirement. And it's just me and my family. And we're just basically making what we can and selling what we can to our fans.
You are the small businesses we talk about, the backbone of America. No, it's really pretty phenomenal at this point when we talk about economic momentum. We spend so much time talking about publicly, the big publicly held companies, right. But it's folks like yourself.
Right. And they all started small at some point, right?
Exactly. Well, and then we want to find out what you're doing now and the growth, and I'm sure that's all part of it. Sit tight, though. We do have to do some news. We're going to come back to Nicole Patel, as we said, founder of Delysia Chocolatier, based in Texas, but she is here in our Bloomberg Interactive Broker studio.
Hey, let's go to check on the latest world and national news. We got Nancy Lyons in the Bloomberg 99.1 newsroom in Washington, D.C. Hey, Nance. Let's get back to Nicole Patel. She's a 10-time Master Chocolatier. She's got a master's in engineering. She's the founder of Delysia Chocolate, based in Austin, Texas, and she's here with us in New York in the Bloomberg Interactive Broker studio. You gave us the origin story. Yes. So bring us up to 2023 and how much you've grown and sort of, I don't know how you were able to scale from just kind of figuring this out at home in your kitchen to actually building something that's a real business.
Right. So when we launched Delysia Chocolatier, as I was mentioning, we just thought it was going to be, 1 or 2 orders a month, party favors. And yes, then we launched an online site, and it just kind of took off from there. I think when you go into business, you don't think about a lot of those things, which is probably the beauty of it. Otherwise, I don't think you take the risk. And it was just, as the orders came, we just figured out how to make it happen. And I thought it was all, good and sustainable. And then the pandemic hit. And we kind of had this pivot point to where we could either decide to close the doors, kind of pause for a moment or figure out how to change and adapt to what was going on in the world. And we changed to taking our in-person chocolate tastings and hosting virtual chocolate tastings.
Oh my gosh.
Which was amazing. Did not realize at the time what the response was going to be, but we started getting phone calls from your Googles and your Apples and all these big Fortune 500 companies wanting us to host virtual events for us. And now we have clients across the country. And it's funny to look back at that because our goal at the beginning of 2020 was, how can we reach new markets? How can we go from being this small little Central Texas based business to people knowing about us across the country? And it came in a very strange package to us. But, that has continued to grow for us and be very successful for us. And we just continue to expand. Our online business has grown during that time, probably by 100%. It's just been a really exciting time.
Nicole, what's the breakdown between online business, corporate business? You have a store.
We do have a store in Austin, yes. I would say it's probably online business is probably 40%, corporate is 40%, and then the remaining 20 is in-store purchases.
I read that you had to stop eating chocolate because you were getting migraines.
Yes, that is correct.
What happened?
I didn't realize it in the time. I always get asked, did you know this when you started a chocolate company? Why would you start a chocolate company? I had no idea. We would be developing flavors and, we were getting ready for our first appearance at the Aspen Food and Wine Festival. And I was tasting about 40 different flavors in one day. And I was like, why do I have this pounding headache? And we were able to narrow it down that it was the chocolate. And so I've never really, after that, tasted any of our flavors. I developed them all simply through the sense of smell.
Right.
So you stopped eating chocolate completely? Mm-hmm. When was that?
2009.
Wow.
How do you do that? Is it hard?
No, it's funny. Chocolate was not something that I craved a whole lot.
Okay.
I like the challenge. I think it played to my engineering mindset. So I like the challenge of working with it. The one that hurt was when I developed gluten allergies, and now I can't eat pies and cakes, and that's the one that hurts, but not the chocolate.
Well, and your chocolate is gluten-free.
It is gluten-free. 85% of our products are gluten-free. We even have a line of vegan and dairy-free products. Kosher, yes, absolutely.
I think go.
How have you been hurt? We talked about the increase in price of sugar and cocoa.
Yes.
How have you felt that and had to raise your prices
smiling.
as a result?
Yeah. She looks pained.
Yes. So, first it was packaging and shipping boxes and corrugated boxes. And I was like, okay, we're going to figure this one out. And then I'm like, now we're good and we don't have to increase prices again. And then, I think we were hit with plastic and prices on that. And then it was shipping costs. And I was like, okay, we've gotten through all of that. And now it's chocolate. It's the raw.
So how much more is it in 2023 than say 2019 for you to produce the signature product?
That's a really good question. I would say probably about 30% more.
And that includes the ingredients and the shipping, the corrugated, everything that you just mentioned.
Everything.
Wow.
So do you just raise prices?
We've raised prices, but at the same time, I don't think I've raised prices to cover all of that. At some point as a small business, you can only bump up to that threshold so much, because you
get pushback.
You get pushback.
Are you profitable?
We are profitable. Yes, absolutely. I wouldn't be doing this if we weren't. Right.
It's a long time to be running a nonprofit.
Right.
Well, and you guys, do you have employees?
I don't actually. Pre-pandemic, like I was mentioning, I did. Yeah. Now it's my parents, it's my husband, it's my kids, and it's myself.
Even no contract employees to actually make the chocolate. You guys do it all yourselves?
We do it all ourselves, and I contract out things like public relations and social media.
I'm going to open a box
stuff.
and try one.
What about you do that? I'll keep asking questions. What about and I'll take some of your chocolate. What about facilities?
First of all, okay, all right. Can anybody see? I know that Ari's been doing it. Can you see?
Yeah. I see them.
They're stunning. They're really beautiful.
Thank
How do you
you.
do that? Is that?
It's basically white chocolate, cocoa butter, and that is, think of screen printing, kind of stamped on the top of the chocolate. So when we started, and the whole reason why our chocolates are flat on the top was so we could do corporate branding on the top, put your logo on the top. And that was kind of our differentiating thing at the beginning, and that has evolved over time. But back to your question about infrastructure. I have to credit my husband with this. I kind of argued with him a lot overall early on, saying, we're just doing things the hard way. We should have brick and mortar down in the central Austin where everybody can find us. The only reason why we are still in existence today is because we bought a facility. We own it. We bought the facility next to us and we rent it out. So if we ever need to expand, we can kick out our tenant and move. But that's what I can accredit to us still being in business now, because we don't have the insane increases in rents.
Before you leave, you've actually cooked with crickets, haven't you?
I have, yes. Farm-raised crickets from Austin.
Is that what you're eating, Carol?
No.
You know what? If crickets taste this good, I'm in. In the chocolate?
In the chocolate. We have a cricket chocolate bar. It has pumpkin seeds and currants and cranberries in rich dark chocolate. So you wouldn't know what crunchy thing you were biting into unless you really looked at it very closely.
Crickets are Rice Krispies, right?
Wings and legs and
Is that what it's for? Is it for the crunch part of it?
Well, crunch, it's also really high in protein.
Yeah.
And we did it as we were asked to go to the Atlanta Food and Wine Festival as talent, and they wanted us to come up with some new, innovative, cutting edge product. And that's what we developed for
This
them.
was really fun. It's amazing chocolate. I'm not sharing, kiddo.
I know. Okay.
Happy
Rude.
holidays.
Same to you. Thank you.
Come visit us the next time you're in New York.
Absolutely. We'd love that.
We would love. We'd love to hear how things are going. Nicole Patel, of course, of Delysia Chocolatier, Chocolate, here in our Bloomberg Interactive Broker studio. Find them in Texas, too.